Right behind me, it's my brand new, to me anyways, 1982 Datsun 280ZX. Now it doesn't look like much. I bought this thing for $1,500, but I have big plans for this thing. First of all, I've been working on getting this thing cleaned, and I've been putting together a huge list of parts to get this thing up and running. Now the idea for this car is I want to turn this into a period-inspired Touge racer. So this is going to be a weekend / canyon car. Put myself in the shoes of, imagine if I was this guy, 1990s Japan. I've got my buddies, we're running the Touge, we're competing with other crews, and I got this car and I want to build this thing into the ultimate Touge competition car. Taking inspiration from other builds of the 90s periods, Touge racers, track cars. Overall, just take this rusty banged up 280ZX and turn it into a high performing and reliable weekend car. Now, before I dive into too much depth with this vehicle, we got to get this thing clean. So I'm going to take you back in time to when I first started working on this thing. Is this 10 mil? It's a 10 mil. That's awesome. The stick. That's so thick. actually use my camera. And then I'll just capture this. Okay, now that we've got the car to sort of a good baseline, I figured it's time I give you a good walkthrough, basically what I'm working with. Starting with the interior of this vehicle, number one, there is none. Number two, this is sort of the biggest wall, I think, when, you know, I'm looking into finally trying to get this thing started, which will be the next time you see me work on this thing. But this jerry-rigged, AutoZone, generic, this guy's got tons of wiring, tons of electrical tape. I was told by the previous owner that he got this thing cranking basically by arcing some of the connections with a screwdriver on this. It doesn't really bring my hopes up too high when looking into trying to get this thing started, so that's going to be a lot of crap that I've got to deal with overall underneath this vehicle. But right here, where the handbrake is supposed to mount, I believe the spot welds kind of broke off from the chassis. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to reconnect that. Probably just like drill some holes and throw some bolts in. That's kind of it for the interior, to be honest. Missing a lot of panels and kind of those two. And then cosmetics. But you notice cosmetics is a big issue on this vehicle. There's tons of rust. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I bought this car because it's got good bones. But running into the engine bay, sorry to give you the rundown on this guy. I believe from the previous owner he replaced a few things, which doesn't really matter because I bought new stuff anyways. But with these engines, kind of the main concern is fueling. They use a early style Bosch Jetronic fuel injection system. But those are kind of the big things, besides like rubber hoses and vacuum lines that usually go wrong on these vehicles. That and fueling, which I got some new fuel components for when we try to start this thing. And if the fuel pump works and the fuel tank isn't super grody and corrupted, that shouldn't be too big of an issue. As far as the brakes, I tried the brake pedal. There's not a whole lot going on with it, so that's going to need to be addressed. I think there's no fluid in the brake master, so we'll just refill that and rebleed the brakes. And then for the clutch, when you go to push the clutch down, it kind of gets stuck right there, and then you have some sort of springy release tension. So I think that's not too big of a deal because I believe it's just lacking pressure, but it still has enough to actuate the actual clutch plate itself based on that springy motion. But one of my favorite features is the T-tops. Now I took these off when I was working on this to get it cleaned, just because it's easier to get in and out of. This specific one comes with the T-tops, which is like one of my favorite features, and it's going to make canyon driving really, really fun. The manual transmission, which obviously you have to have one of those. It's a 5-speed, which is the best one you could get in these cars, because the older models, the 240s, they would come with a 4-speed manual, which would kind of suck. And then obviously the engine, this is a 280, which has the 2.8 liter L28 single cam. Super cool engine. Doesn't make a ton of power. I believe it's around 100 and, I want to say like 150 or so from factory. Who knows how much it makes now. With these engines, I really like the NA builds. You can run either triple Weber carbs, fuel injection, velocity stacks, ITBs, big cam on there, make it chop like a Chevy. Crazy stuff. These engines have tons of potential and they are getting tons of love in Japan. There's a lot of aftermarket support. You can get like dual cam conversion kits. It's crazy, but I've got a lot of ideas with this thing. So once we get this car running, I mean, that's where we got to start. Okay, well that pretty much wraps it up for the first video. We did an overview, we did a nice cleaning, dive into the vehicle. I showed you kind of the rough bits, what needs work. As we speak, I'm waiting on a bunch of crap to show up at my front door so we can get this thing running. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited. It's gonna be a good time. And after that, that gives us free rein to make this thing usable, you know, on the road. So we'll see how that goes. That about wraps it up, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.